Florida, a state renowned for its sunshine and stunning beaches, is now witnessing an incredible shift. One of the state's most loyal groups of visitors, Canadians, is slowly pulling back, and this change is not just a temporary slowdown. It's a powerful, quiet, yet decisive withdrawal. Bookings are plummeting, real estate is being sold at an unprecedented rate, and for the first time in many years, these visitors are saying, "We're done." Is this just a simple financial issue, or is it a reflection of a sense of being abandoned and unwelcome? With over $6 billion once spent annually in Florida, that money is now flowing into other destinations like Portugal, Mexico, and the Caribbean. And the Florida economy is beginning to face the clear consequences. Florida, once hailed as the paradise for seasonal migrants, is now facing a major shift it couldn't have predicted. If 2025 has witnessed this decline, 2026 may be even worse. The quiet boycott of Canadian visitors, who have been loyal to the state for decades, is underway and spreading. If this story resonates with you, don't forget to like and subscribe so that this video reaches those who need to hear it. Every year, as fall begins and the leaves change color in Ontario and Quebec, thousands of Canadian retirees embark on their slow migration south. They are not just tourists. They are seasonal migrants, some staying for a few weeks, others for half a year. They have built routines, friendships, and traditions that have lasted decades. A couple from Montreal shared, "We've spent over 25 winters there. Every December, we pack up, drive down to Florida, and reunite with old friends at the same restaurant. It's our second home." But now that ritual is slowly unraveling. More and more longtime migrants are leaving, not because they want to, but because they feel forced to do so. A woman from Vancouver shared that the atmosphere in Florida has changed. It's not just about the cost, but also about politics and the feeling of no longer being welcome. Some people have begun selling their homes in Florida, while others don't even want to return. A family from Ottawa, after 17 winters in Naples, decided to sell everything. For them, 2025 wasn't just a missed year. It was a bittersweet goodbye. This change comes at a steep price. In Florida alone, Canadians have spent over $6.6 billion annually on housing, groceries, dining, and entertainment. But now, that money is no longer flowing into Florida. Instead, it's heading to Canada, Portugal, Mexico, and the Caribbean. What was once a seasonal tradition is now slowly becoming a closed chapter, and Florida, whether it recognizes it or not, is beginning to face the consequences. The reason is not just about money or rising premiums. It's something deeper, an attitude shift. For years, Canadians were treated like family in Florida, but now that warmth has given way to mockery and disdain. Canadian leaders are ridiculed, their role diminished. Trump has once again become the focus of criticism, calling Canada a nasty and unpleasant neighbor. Governor DeSantis pays little attention to the concerns of seasonal Canadian migrants. And for many, that's the final straw. A couple from Nova Scotia said, "We've lived in Florida for many years, and now we feel like we're no longer welcome. After the cruel jokes, the insults, and the smug attitude, we had no choice but to turn our backs and leave." But we are not alone. Online communities are also filled with the same quiet frustration. It's not just about the costs. It's also about how we are perceived. It's as if we are a nuisance, not valued guests. A former visitor from Winnipeg openly shared that Florida thinks it can manage just fine without our help. Now, the parking lots are eerily empty. Restaurants are thinning out. On travel forums, real estate listings, and local business pages, the message couldn't be clearer. Canadians haven't just been pushed out, they've been pushed aside. What stands out most in this change is the striking silence. No noisy protests, no trending hashtags, no big announcements from Ottawa. It's simply a slow, unceremonious withdrawal. Booking rates are steadily declining. Flights are emptier. Florida real estate is still vacant. At first, many thought this was just a temporary adjustment after the pandemic, a tough season, but things haven't recovered. A retired couple from Quebec shared, "We don't really mind leaving. We just aren't coming back, and most of our friends feel the same." Everything is quiet, but deeply felt. This is a silent protest, not out of anger, but out of exhaustion. Exhausted from being ridiculed, from feeling like second-class guests in a place they once called their winter home. And what's notable is that this protest comes with no demands. It's simply a decision. A decision to leave and not return. "We found an apartment in Portugal, cheaper and more respectful," one Canadian shared. "No hassle, just peace." At first, Florida didn't notice, but now the change has become unmistakable. The patios are empty, bookings are slower, and the highways are quieter. What they thought was a mere lull is now beginning to feel permanent. So what's the message behind all of this? You didn't lose us because of taxes. You lost us because you stopped listening. At first, Florida ignored it, and local officials downplayed the importance of this change. Real estate agents called it a market cool-down, and Governor DeSantis barely acknowledged it, saying Florida's economy is strong enough to stand on its own. But the numbers tell a different story. We're talking about billions of dollars in lost revenue from real estate, restaurants, car rentals, entertainment, and even healthcare services. A couple from Ontario told CBC that they used to spend over $25,000 every winter on everything from local contractors to haircuts. But now, that money is going to Portugal. When you multiply the financial losses with tens of thousands of households, the damage becomes incalculable. Cities like Naples, Sarasota, and Fort Lauderdale are facing immense pressure. Off-season businesses are struggling, rental properties remain empty, and seasonal workers like cleaners, servers, and tour guides are facing reduced hours or even being laid off entirely. And here's the real irony. Some Americans are celebrating the departure of winter migrants, thinking it will reduce traffic and lower home prices. But the reality is quite the opposite. As the number of tourists drops, many small businesses can't survive. Prices aren't going down, they're going up, and some businesses have even been forced to close. Florida's winter economy cannot rely on weekend tourists. It was built on steady, reliable winter residents, many of whom were Canadians. Now, in 2025, cracks have appeared in places no one expected. A construction worker in Lee County stated, "Winter used to be the busiest season, but now we're working slower or even not completing the jobs." The issue isn't just the loss of tourists, it's the loss of residents. Seasonal Canadian migrants aren't short-term tourists. They are part-time Floridians, and their absence leaves more than empty chairs in beachside cafes. It leaves a gap in the economy that Florida never anticipated and still hasn't fully acknowledged. But Florida is not the only place feeling this loss. Across the U.S., the quiet decline of the Canadian community is reshaping both the tourism and real estate markets. In Houston, Canadian interest in real estate has dropped by 55%. Philadelphia is down 53%. Chicago has seen a 47% decrease in searches from Canadians. And these aren't just numbers. They reflect something deeper. Not just a market shift, but a change in feelings, in preferences. The issue is no longer just about real estate. It's about perception. Cities that were once prime destinations for winter tourists are now seeing vacant rental properties, fewer bookings, and emptier airports. Even Arizona, long considered a winter tourist haven, is reporting a significant drop in seasonal residents this year. In states like Nevada and New York, travel platforms are seeing a sharp decline in Canadian visitors. It's not just about bookings, but also basic searches. In some areas, Canadians aren't being replaced by other tourists. The rooms are just sitting empty. This isn't a noisy boycott, but a gradual weakening. A change that can't be ignored. A growing silence is spreading, causing restaurants, beaches, and winter towns to struggle to adapt. Meanwhile, countries like Spain, Costa Rica, and the Caribbean are welcoming more Canadians than ever before. The winter routines that were once stable in Florida are now being replaced by new destinations, where the prices are more affordable and the respect is greater. Florida may be bearing the brunt of the consequences, but the message it sends is echoing across the United States. You might have thought that we would always recover, but this time, it's different. The numbers we're seeing in 2025 aren't just a warning. They could be a preview of what's to come. This is no longer just a story about the winter housing market or real estate listings. This is a revolution in the entire landscape of tourism and migration. The travel mindset of Canadians toward the United States has been deeply affected and shows no signs of recovering. For 6 consecutive months, travel from Canada has dropped by double digits. Surveys show that over 70% of Canadians either have no plans to visit the US or have canceled their trips. This change doesn't just affect seasonal migrants. It affects family trips, road trips, vacation bookings, spontaneous getaways, and the entire cross-border movement. And this time, unlike previous slow tourist seasons that could be quickly recovered, this one feels different. Canadians aren't just resting, they're rethinking their entire relationship with the US. What was once natural, spending a winter in Florida, a cross-border shopping trip, a holiday under the sun, is now gradually being replaced by Spain, Mexico, or anywhere other than the US. And if 2025 has been like this, 2026 could be much worse. What we're witnessing now is not just a seasonal decline. It's a fundamental change in how Canadians perceive and interact with the US. Once trust is broken, that connection will never be the same. Sometimes it may never return. Florida may still have sunshine, but the warmth is slowly fading. What we're seeing from Canadians is not just a pause, it's a major shift. And unless there's a real change, this shift could become permanent. If this story resonates with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It helps us spread this important message. And if you've ever been a seasonal migrant or have chosen to leave, feel free to leave a comment below. Your story could be featured in our next video.